Hi there, my name's Vince from Mr. Telephone, and today I'm going to talk about crimping tools for the RJ10, RJ11, RJ12 and RJ45 little connectors. Now I'm going to do a brief description of how the tools work, and I'm also going to show you the difference between a very cheap tool and an expensive tool, just to see the difference in how they crimp and how they work. Okay, so the two tools that I've picked for this one is a very cheap one that I got off eBay. Believe it or not, this one was delivered in the UK for £2 something. I think it was even under £2.50, which is unbelievable. I mean, I don't know how anybody's making any money out of that, considering the postage of this item, but I thought it was going to be absolutely awful, but looking at it, it doesn't look too bad, especially for the money. Obviously, you've got all the spelling mistakes and stuff that I'll show you in a minute, but I'm going to show you the difference between this tool and this tool here. This is a ratchet tool. You get these tools for between 20 and 30 pounds. I've had this for years now and it's still working absolutely fine. I've had to oil it up once, use a bit of WD-40 on it once because it was starting to get a little bit noisy and it was kind of like sticking a tiny little bit. But since putting a bit of WD-40 on the various parts, it's working absolutely fine again. And this has been used every day for the last 3-4 years. Okay, so this is the tool in between 20 and 30 pound. I can't remember the exact price, but both tools do a variety of plugs. I've already done a video on the tool that I sell. Believe it or not, I don't actually sell either of these. I sell this tool here, which is purely for RJ45s that I've done a video on already. But this tool will do RJ45s. It will also do RJ12s. Remember, these might be called different things in different countries. So what I call an RJ45 and what most people know an RJ45 is an 8P 8C. That's these plugs. I call this, and it's mostly known in the UK as an RJ12. This is a 6P 6C. Yeah, so both these crimpers will do them as well. Both the crimpers will do 6P 4C. We know these as RJ11s, and both the crimpers as well will do the very small RJ10. I believe they're known as RJ9 in other countries. Over in the UK we normally know them as RJ10. These are the very, very thin ones. These are a 4P 4C, and these are normally on the curly handset cord. The curly cord that goes from your phone to the actual handset of the phone. These often use these little ones here. So both these tools we'll do all of those plugs. So we've got the 8P, that's for the 8P 8C, which is the RJ45, 6P, so this one does the 6P 4C or the 6P 6C, so that's the RJ12 and RJ11. And around the other end here, we have got 4P, so this is for the 4P 4C, which is the little RJ10 plugs that go on the curly handset lead. Okay, so this one tool will do all of them. Again, this cheaper tool will do them as well, because we have the 8P 8C RJ45 in the middle. We have the 6P 6C or 6P 4C RJ11 and RJ12 plug here, and the RJ10, the 4P 4C one here. Okay, now I thought this was going to be really, really bad because of the price of it. But when I actually got it, I was quite pleasantly surprised with it. It is littered with spelling mistakes, so if you have a look here, you've got modular instead of modular. I presume that's supposed to be crystal. It says magnetic, I think it is. Magnetic steel. I presume it means magnetic. I'm not quite sure. It's all rubbish, portable style with perfect shape. Really? Right, okay. But for £2 something, does it work? Now, I'm just going to zoom down. Sorry, move the camera down, I mean. It's got quite a nice action when you squeeze it down, but what I would say is, this looks pretty lethal here, because these are little razor blades here, sharp razor blades, and if this was in your toolbox, there's absolutely nothing, there's no lock or anything to keep it closed, because sometimes you have, even on the cheap tools, you can often have like a metal chain that goes around here just to keep it shut. I mean, how much more would it cost just to put a metal chain hanging off here, so when you lock it, you can just pop it round here, maybe have this little bit of rubber going up a little bit so it locks into place. So many people are going to cut themselves on that. and I'm kind of amazed that it's been allowed, because that is going to be dangerous. If you have a look at the more expensive one, you know, they've gone to the effort of putting plastic. Can you see a little plastic guard there? So, and this side as well, there's a little plastic guard to stop yourself cutting yourself. Obviously, if you were to shove your finger right in there and start crimping down, you are going to cut yourself. Or if small kids were mucking about with it, they can cut themselves. But you know, when it's in your toolbox, you can just leave it like that. And you're not going to, it's very unlikely that you are going to cut yourself on this one here. Well, this one is just lethal. So it might be worth, if you were to get this, it might be worth trying to, well, you could remove that one, but you're not gonna be able to remove this other blade here, which is so you can remove this one, but there's still going to be a blade here that you can cut yourself on. So that's one thing that I noticed. But apart from that, it kind of looks okay. So I'm going to give them both a quick go just to see how they do work. Okay, so what I'm going to do to begin with is just use a flat bit of cable, and we'll just crimp on some little RJ10 plugs onto both of them. So with this one here, let's just cut the cable completely. Right, so we want to strip it back. We want to be able to strip this cable back. So we insert it into here. Crimp down and then pull out, and as you can see, that's stripped back now. Yeah. And to get a nice, because I'm going to be putting this into, I'm going to try an RJ10. I want a lot less wires than that, so I'm just going to cut off the excess. Okay, so I've just cut off the excess. I'm not going to go into colour codes or anything. This is just to see how the tool works. Okay, and now we move it over to the 4P side, shove it in there, crimp down, and job done. Yeah, so that was nice and straightforward. Didn't take too long. Now I'm going to try an RJ10 plug using this one here. Okay, so this is the bit here to strip the cable back. Put it in here. Pull back. Okay, well it did work. It was a little bit harder to do. If you have a look, it hasn't done quite such a nice straight line. Don't know if the camera can pick that up, but can you see there's a bit of a ridge there? But I mean, it stripped it back and it didn't cause any damage on the wires. So now I want to get a nice straight line. That's nice and easy. Plug in the RJ10 there, put it into the 4-piece connector. And this, I'm not putting this on now. If you have a look there, it didn't actually crimp it. Can you see that the 2 pins on this side haven't been pushed in? Can you see that? So these 2 pins have been pushed in and these 2 haven't. Now let's go to the side with the proper crimper, and can you see all the pins have been pushed in? So on that attempt there, it didn't actually crimp those 2, and I did push down twice. Let's put it in again and see. I'll put it in nice and straight. Okay, and 4 times there. No, it hasn't got those 2. So it doesn't work. Not on the RJ10s. Can you see there? It hasn't. I'm trying to see if you can see that. You should be able to see that these 2 are raised. 2 on this side are raised. So 100% that hasn't crimped. Now let's see why it hasn't crimped. See, I can't see because that side's blanked out, so I can't see why it hasn't crimped. I presume it's just misalignment. Okay, so to me, obviously that's failed. So if you've bought the tool to crimp RJ10, that's not going to work. So let's cut both ends off now, and let's try an RJ. We'll go straight, I'll tell you what we'll do, we'll go straight for the RJ, no, we'll go through all of them. I know the video's going to be a bit long, but we'll go through all of them. We're going to use now the RJ11s on both ends, and let's see if it works. So, again, using a good tool. Okay. Now remember that this is a few years old now and I haven't replaced the blades, so the blades are not going to be as sharp as they are when they're brand new. Okay, so anyway, it's stripped it back nice again, put on the RJ11, which is a 6P4C because this one's only got 4 gold pins. This time we have to go into the 6P connector. That's this one here. Crimp down. And yeah, there we go. I know this tool works, so I use it every day anyway, but can you see? All 4 pins are pushed down. So let's try the cheap tool now. Hopefully we'll have more success. So let's strip back. Stripped it back. Cut it to size. Get another 6P4C. I should have these in order. Hold on. There we go. 6P4C. Okay. Plug it in. And let's crimp down on the 6P one here, which is this fella over here. Okay. Right, push it all the way in. Nice motion. Okay, do it twice. And let's have a look now. Yeah, but that's definitely made. Yeah, so it's definitely worked on the 6P4C. Can you see there? See, all the pins have been pushed down. I'm just going to make sure they're straight. Yeah, they are. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, that's worked as well as the other one. Yeah, so that works on the RJ11s. That tool works. Let's just get rid of those plugs. Now we're going to try the RJ12 plugs, which is the 6P6C. Throwing them about the place. Right, so that's these ones here. 6P6C, that's got 6 gold pins. Right, try the good tool again. Oh, beg your pardon, sorry, I need to use 6-core cable, of course, because I'm using 6 pins. So let's use 6-core cable. This is flat 6-core cable. Okay, so that strips it back nicely. Yeah, no damage. And that's on the 6-core cable. Now let's get a straight line for our wires. Okay, and pop it in all the way to the ends. Now we've got to use the 6P again. Push down. Yeah, and there we go. That's all pushed in. Yeah, okay. So let's try the cheapy tool now. Right. Well, already I can tell I'm going to struggle to push the 6-core in there, because if you have a look here, it's not really, it doesn't seem wide enough to get the 6. If I show you the width of the cable, it's going to be very tight to get in. I'm not sure if the 6-core is going to cut. So let's have a look. Okay, yeah, it made a bit of a mess. Let's try that again. Most people won't be using 6-core cable though, but you know, the tool is designed for it, so let's see. Right, okay, it did it. But not with ease. It kind of ripped it apart more than actually cut it. Can you see there? It's not the, it's not very nice, I don't know if it's coming up in the camera, but it's not a very nice straight line. It's kind of ripped it more than actually cut it. But still, it worked, we did it. So let's cut a nice straight edge on it. Okay, and now get the 6P6C connector. Pop it on, crimp it down, see if it crimps. Again, in the 6-piece one. Yeah, that's crimped. It's quite a bit of an angle. So if you have a look, can you see that this side here, it's kind of sloping. Hold on, let me get this right now. the pins are sloping down this way, so it's pushed in this side more than this side. If you can see that. Don't know if that can come up on the camera, but it's going down at an angle, so the pins are more pushed in this side. Can you see? Maybe you can see it now. The pins are more pushed in this side than this side. Let's give it another crimp, see if it rectifies that. Okay, so I'm doing it nice and straight. So I've crimped it quite a few times there now. Yeah, and it's the same thing again. Let's see if you can see. See, when I hold the plug straight, the pins are going down to one angle. But you know, they will, I reckon they will still connect, but if you look at the wire at the end here, the pin's only just barely gone into it. So if you have a look at the wire on this side, the pin's only just touching it, while on this side it's gone right the way in. So you can see the gold pins now are a lot more in this side than they are this side. So it hasn't crimped it straightly. You know, compared to the other side, you know, using the professional tool. Sorry, the light's not the best here. See if that can zoom in. Doesn't help that I'm shaking either. Going to focus or not? There you go. You can see the two plugs. Yeah. This one here is the cheap one. And this one's the good tool. Yeah, so on RJ12, that's the 6P6C. To me, it doesn't connect as well. It doesn't push the wires down as well. But I reckon it will. I reckon that one will work. Now let's try some RJ45 cable. Let's just get rid of this. This is Cat 5. Sorry, not RJ45 cable. This is Cat 5e cable. So we'll put it into the little bit here to cut the sheath off. Now remember, these blades are not going to be as sharp. Okay, but it's still, can you see it still work there? Still work nicely. I'm not going to get too much into how much it damages the wires on the inside. Right, I'm going to quickly put them in order, but again, I'm not going to talk about the order of the colour code in this video because you can watch another video that I've done in detail, which is a really thorough detail of how to, a thorough video of how to put these plugs on. This is just showing the difference between the crimpers. Right, so it's stripped the cable back. I've got them in the correct order. Nearly. There we go. Now I want to get a nice straight line. That's that. Push them all the way in and crimp down. Okay. Yeah, and all the wires have gone in there. Yeah, okay. So let's try the cheapy tool now, see if it can crimp RJ45, the 8P8C. These are the big fellas. This is probably what you're going to get the tool for. These ones here. Yeah. Okay. To begin with, let's see if we can strip it back. So it has got a nice little bit here for stripping back the round cable. Can you see this bit here? So this bit was for the flat, but this bit's for the rounds. Looks like a kind of semicircle, like an arch. Yeah. So we put it in there. Twist it round. And yeah, that strips it back nice. Got no complaints there at all. Just get rid of the drawstring. Now let's pop it in order. In case you are wondering, it's white, orange, orange, white, green, solid blue, white, blue, solid green, white, brown, and brown. And that's following the B configuration. There's two configurations, A and B, but most people use B nowadays. Most patch leads and stuff that you buy are in B. Okay, so that's in the right order. Can you see there? I went to cut down and the handles moved rather than cutting. Can you see the blades haven't lined up? They've overlapped each other. So let's try that again. No, and again, it's happened again. Can you see that it's sliding rather than cutting? It's cutting there, but when I actually try to cut them, there, look, see, it's not cutting. Look. This is solid core cable, by the way. So look, it can't cope with solid core cable. Works fine there, but as soon as I put solid core cable in, okay, it worked that time. But yeah, interesting. Let's just wonder whether it would work with Cat 6 cable or would it struggle. Yeah, can you see what's happening? When it meets a bit of resistance, it's just overlapping. Is the camera picking that up or not? Yeah? Yeah? See that? And that's not me pushing it down in any weird way. I suppose you can get around it by putting force. Yeah, you can get around it by kind of forcing it down that way. But if you just go to crimp it normally, you're gonna struggle. You're gonna struggle on that. Okay, but anyway, it has. We've got our straight line now. Let's put our plug on. Actually, that's a Cat 6 plug. Let me just use a Cat 5e plug. Cat 6 plugs are staggered and Cat 5e are straight. Okay, so we've got it in there, and let's put it into the 8p. The 8p, that's the middle one. Okay, that's the middle one up here. That's the 8p connector. Put it in, crimp it down, give it 2 of them, pull it out, and hold on now. I think it might have slightly damaged the plastic. If you look between, hold on. I don't think the camera's going to show it, but this is the good one here, and this is the bad one. And can you see across the middle here? It looks like the plastic's kind of gone a bit disformed. Don't know if you can see that or not. But the pins themselves look okay. I reckon it would still work, but it doesn't look. I'm not sure if the light's bouncing off that. If you can see it, but there's looks like pins in between pins. 2, 3. In between pins 3 and 4, and 5 and 6. In between pins 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 on this one, it looks like the plastic's been a little bit distorted. I don't know if you can see that there's slight dark patches on that. Yeah? Okay, let's just push it in again. Yeah, not 100% happy with that, but you know, it is relatively straight, yeah? It's relatively straight there, and I do believe that that would work. Yeah, so, all in all, what do I think of this crimper? Look, for £2 something, you can't really go wrong. And if you just had a one-off job, then yeah, why not? It's £2 something. Go ahead and get it. If you're an electrician or, you know, working with networks a lot, go get yourself a ratchet one. Also, for some reason, the ratchet one just feels much nicer. And it's got little features like this. Let's say if you start crimping down and you realise you've made a mistake before you've actually crimped it, you know, you can turn that and it will release it. Obviously, with this, you don't need to release anything because it's not ratchet, but there's something quite satisfying about a ratchet. And it's only until you've used one that you'll find it hard to go back to another tool. But remember that this is 20-something pound, and if you're thinking like you've only got two runs to install, and you're thinking, well, hold on a minute, the cable's this, the faceplates are that. Do you really want to be spending the majority of money on the tool if you've only got a one-off job? In which case, then, yeah, this does work, but just be so careful with these blades here, because that's lethal. The shame is that if they had just spent maybe another 10% more or 20% more, you know, they could have made a nice tool here. But I've got a feeling that I don't think it will last very long. I think the metal's probably soft already, you know, even in the tests we did here. And honestly, this is the first time I've used this. It was straight out the packaging. This is the first time I've used this today. So RJ10s did not work, no matter how many times I crimped it. But the RJ11, RJ12 and RJ45 did work to a certain degree, but they didn't look perfect. And you've already got enough to struggle against, you know, trying to get them in the right order, trying to make sure that you've done a neat install and where this cable's going and find that cable. You could run into problems, especially if you're not used to it, and then you want to be able to rely on your tool, because if you've crimped it down, even if you've got it in the right order, there's a chance when you use a cheap tool that it's not going to work because it hasn't crimped properly. Now I know it because I'm working with these all the time, but if you've never worked with this before, or it's been a long time since you've worked with it, or you're not used to it, you kind of want to rely on a tool. It'd be like if you're using a hammer and a nail. Well, you know that hammer's going to work. It's easy. You just hit it and it works. And all you've got to worry about is not falling off the ladder and all the other things you have to worry about. But then if you also have to worry about whether your tool's working properly, then it's just another headache. So would I use these? Personally, no, I wouldn't. But I can see why people would use them. Yeah, I really can see why people would use them. But for £2 something, it is a bit of a bargain. But it's only a bargain if it works. And if the tolerances are slightly out on this one, who's to say that the one that you're going to buy, the tolerances might be out a little bit more. And on this one, the RJ10 didn't work, but on yours, maybe the RJ45 didn't work. Or if you tried doing it on Cat6 cable, you might struggle more. Remember when we were cutting back here, it didn't cut properly? So you're having to make allowances for the tool, which shouldn't really be the case. If they were just to spend a little bit more money, it would be good. But unfortunately, that's the way it is. It's made in China. It's made very cheaply. Although it does kind of feel nice, it doesn't. It really doesn't do the job. It doesn't do the job properly. This tool that I sell, this is an RJ45 one. It doesn't do the other ones, but it does work. It's a lot more simple than this. You know, this does feel nicer. This one's just more simple. It's just a little spring up here, you close it, it's job done. But it works because I suppose there's less moving parts, so there's less room for error. While with this, we've got quite a few moving parts here. If this thing doesn't go up dead straight, it's not going to it's not going to push them in right. You've got the thing at the back here. What happens if that doesn't go dead straight? What happens if you get a bit of wear on this little pivot that goes through here? Yeah, where the circlip is. If you get a bit of wear, that's gonna affect it. So yeah, it's a hard one. Personally, would I get it? No, I wouldn't. Even if it's £2 something, it's £2 something that should go towards one of these or one of these. Because again, this is only about £8, but this does only do RJ45. But yes, I can see why people get it, and it does feel better quality than you would think it does for £2 something. But it doesn't really, as we've seen here. It kind of works, but you have to make allowances for it. So yeah, I just thought that'd be useful because obviously there's going to be thousands upon thousands and thousands and thousands upon thousands of people are selling of these would be sold all the time. So I thought I'd do a quick video just to show you the difference between a cheap tool and a good tool. I hope you found it useful. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I know it waffled on for quite a while. I've got quite a few how-to videos on my YouTube channel, so please check that out. If you do want the RJ45 crimpers or the plugs, you know, the RJ10, RJ11, RJ12, RJ45, please check out my eBay shop. That's mrtelephone.co.uk. That will link you through to my mate Vince website, which will link you through to my eBay shop. Okay, thanks a lot for watching. Take care. Bye now.